Live, yeah. About you wanna start to
Good afternoon, dear students. I am Dr. Hemant. I am working as professor in School of Pharmacy, and today I would like to brief you about communication skills. Good afternoon, dear students. I am Dr. Hemant, working as professor in School of Pharmacy, and today I would like to brief you about communication skills. This communication skill is an important part of a student and any individual, rather, not only a student. So it becomes very, very important for us to understand and adapt for good communication between us as a student, between a teacher and a student, and apart from teacher and student, with our family members, our friends, and everybody. Okay, so we will try to understand what are different types of communications, how can you be a good communicator, everything today. So coming to the introduction for the communication, it is the process of exchanging anything like information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, signals, any of these things if you are exchanging with other person, it is a form of communication. If you are sharing some idea, if you are sharing some thought, if you are sharing your dream, what did you see last night, it is a communication. If you are sharing your emotion, you are telling to your friend, I am feeling sad, I am feeling happy, I am feeling angry, it is nothing but it is a part of communication. So how can you define communication? Communication skills are the abilities you use when giving and receiving different kinds of information. So how can you give information to the other person? That is called as communication skill or your ability. You know that everybody cannot be a good news reader, right? Some people are having special abilities so that they are reading news in the Aaj or Z News or various things. So this communication skills is very, very important. You can also define this communication as simply the act of transferring information from one place or person or group to another. Every communication, it involves three things are there. Number one, a sender. Number one, a message. And number three, a recipient. Somebody has to send, and what he or she is sending is a message, and somebody has to receive, he or she is going to be recipient. Communication soft skills are the tools you use to clearly and effectively converse with others, set expectations, and work others in the projects. So these communication skills are very, very important. What is the importance? If you have good communication, you can understand each other in a better way. If you have good communication, you can exchange your ideas, you can exchange your thoughts in a better way. So if you do not have good communication skills, it is very difficult for you to put across your thoughts to other people, to exchange your ideas with the other people. So communication is very, very important. Communication plays a vital role in the success of everyone's lives. Need not be a student, need not be a teacher. Each and every individual has to be a good communicator. Then only he or she can get success in life. If you see this communication process, there are various terminologies which are involved here, like sender, encoding, message, channel, receiver, and decoding. We will see them one by one. First one is the sender. Who is sender? The person who is delivering a message to a recipient is a sender. What he is delivering? Some information. To whom he is delivering? He is delivering this to the receiver. This information is message. How are you delivering? What is the mode? What is the method of this transmission? That is called as channel of communication. Now, whatever message you have given, it has to be interpreted, it has to be understood by the receiver. This is called as decoding. Then the person who is receiving or getting your message is called as the receiver. And sometimes the person with whom you are talking, with whom you are interacting, he or she may give you some response. That response is called as feedback. So these are various terminologies which are used in communication: decoding, sender, receiver, message, channel of communications, all these things. Now, how to meet people, and when you are asking some questions, it becomes very, very important. Two things can happen here, or you can ask the questions in two ways generally: open-ended questions and close-ended questions. Open-ended and closed-ended. What are these open-ended questions? What are these closed-ended questions? We will see one by one. First is closed-ended questions. What are closed-ended questions? Whose answer is either yes or no, and the thing stops there. Okay. So, are you angry? I'll say no. The thing stops there. It is a closed-ended questions. Open-ended questions are those which require more thought and answer is more than in a simple word or a sentence. Means you need to explain, you need to talk little more. Those type of questions are called as open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions can be answered in only one word or with a short, specific piece of information. Closed-ended questions can also be used in the situations mentioned above, although they have the potential to end the conversation. What are the examples of closed-ended? Is this your final answer? If anybody asks you, is that your final answer? You will say either yes or no. Should I call her and sort the things out? Yes or no? Answer. Shall we make dinner? Yes or no? Is math your favorite subject? Yes or no? So all these things which you are seeing, the types of questions you are seeing in this slide are all closed-ended questions. Means the answer will be in simple one word like yes or no. Coming to open-ended questions, these are the ones that require more than one word answers, and these answers can be in a form of a list, a sentences, or sometimes a paragraph. What is this list? What is this sentences? And what is this paragraph? Sometimes somebody can ask you which is what are your favorite dishes. Then it is a list. You will say I like what do you say, puri bhaji, I like masala dosa, I like chocolates, I like ice cream. So it is a list. So it is an open ended questions. Sometimes it can be few sentences. Explain about yourself. When you go to an interview, you have to explain about yourself in few sentences, right? So all these things which you can see here are related to the open ended questions. Examples of open-ended questions. What are you planning to buy today at the supermarket? The answer cannot be yes or no. You have to say, I'm going to buy sugar, I'm going to buy groceries, I'm going to buy rice, I'm going to buy soap. So it is multiple answers. It cannot be single answer. What is your favorite memory from childhood? You cannot say yes or no. You have to explain in few sentences. How did you and your best friend meet? You have to explain. Okay, we met in a train, or we met in a park, or we met in a school, we met in some conference. You have to explain that. So all these things are, or what you say, examples of open-ended questions. So two types: closed-ended questions whose answer is yes or no, and open-ended questions which the answer is in few sentences. Coming to the context of communication, we will see this context, what it is. Context refers to the setting in which communication is taking place. What is the environment? What is the setting in which communication is taking place is called as the context. This context helps in establishing meaning and can influence what is said and how it is said. What is said, it can be influenced, and how it is said can also be influenced. There are at least four aspects in regards to this idea: physical, cultural, social, psychological, and temporal. We will see them one by one. What is the physical context? It is the actual setting, like location, noise can determine not only how you are able to communicate but also how you should communicate. If you are sitting in a small room, then you can communicate without any accessories to your friend who is sitting next to you in that room. But if you are sitting in a public train or in a bus, there is a lot of noise. You cannot communicate there. It becomes very, very difficult because of the noise. If you are sitting in India and you have to communicate with somebody outside India, then how do you do that? That is the physical context. Psychological context, it refers to the state of someone, like your mood, your emotions, depending on what you are feeling and what audience is feeling will have a significant impact on communication. Suppose if you are sitting and you are watching, or not watching, you can say you are hearing a teacher. If the subject is of interest to you, you will be having very good emotion and you will be very attentive to that particular talk, right? But if the talk is not interesting to you, if the talk is not delivered in a proper way, then you will lose interest, right? So that is what is meant by psychological context. Next, social context is how someone reacts to something depending on their immediate social or physical environment. How do you react with your immediate social or physical environment is called as social context. Temporal context includes stage of life, time and day or year, duration or rhythm of activity, and history. Okay, how you are talking. If a teenager is there, if an adult is there, if an old man is there, the different way of talking, that communication, it comes under temporal context. Now, coming to various types of communication, see, please understand, my dear students, that communication is not done only through mouth. Without opening my mouth, also, I can make feel the other person that I am happy, I am angry, I am sad, isn't it? So, if you see like in that way, communication channels are in two ways: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication, as the name suggests, it is through mouth. Non-verbal communication, it is without words. Verbal and non-verbal. What is verbal? It is refers to the form of communication in which message is transmitted verbally, done from the word, mouth, or sometimes writing. Okay. So if you are doing anything like that, if there is any communication is like that, we call that communication as verbal communication. This can be, as I said, verbal communication. It can be either oral, I can talk, or I can write. It is also, excuse me, treated as verbal communication. But coming to the non-verbal communication, what is non-verbal communication? This non-verbal communication is through body language, right? Through some signs and symbols, non-verbal, without verbal communications, your face expressions, your body language, all these are part of non-verbal communication. If you see this slide, if you see the picture, the first one, you can easily feel that the person is happy. If you see the below one, you can see that the woman is angry, right? If you see the below one, the another one, the fourth one, you can see the person is anxious, fear is there. And on the top, on the right, if you can see, you can feel that the person is sad. Just from your facial expressions, you can communicate to the other person that you are sad, you are happy, you are afraid of something, you are in angry mood, you are anger, you are angry. All these things can be done through non-verbal communication, that is through your facial expressions. Okay. So now you know what is the importance of communication skills, what is verbal, non-verbal communications. Okay. Now we will see what are the styles of communications. Basically, there are three or four styles of communication, like basic passive behavior, aggressive behavior, passive aggressive behavior, and assertive behavior. If you see this picture, you can easily see that the other guy is bullying the person or the boy standing in the front, and he is not responding at all. He is not responding at all. He is just standing there, right? I don't really matter. That is the understanding of that boy in the front. This type of behavior is called as passive behavior. What happens here? The person does not express his or her opinions or feelings, apologize for the things that is not their fault. Even if you are not, even if they are not done any mistake, they will say, I'm sorry. They do not even respect their own rights. We should always respect their own rights. And they feel they don't have a right to ask for anything they want. And they avoid conflict even at their own discomfort. If any of this thing is present, and if you can visualize in anybody, you can easily say that his behavior is passive in nature. What do you think, students? This is good behavior? No, not at all. You cannot show or you cannot have passive behavior. If you see this passive behavior and in terms of body language, the person will be hesitant for eye contact. He will look away often. He will not look in eye to eye. Over smiles, sometimes he will be over smiling. Quick changing features. He will keep his head down. He will sit back. He will raise eye in anticipation. All these gestures are showing the passive behavior of an individual. So you should not have passive behavior. Coming to the aggressive behavior, this is when you are trying to dominate, okay, and you say don't really matter, so you are trying to be very aggressive in your behavior or in your communication. What does the person does here? He or she does not respect needs, opinions, or feelings of their own or the others. They do not apologize for the things, even when they are at fault. See, the first one, the person was not at fault and he was apologizing or she was apologizing. Here, the person is at fault, still they will not apologize. They do not respect the rights of others. They feel others do not have right to ask for anything. All these gestures or what do you say points which you are seeing is showing aggressive behavior. Do you think you should show aggressive behavior? Never. You should never as a student show aggressive behavior to your colleagues, to your friends, to your teachers specifically. Never. Even to your parents, to your family, anybody. What will happen here? The gestures. He person tries to dominate by staring. They will not only look, they will stare at you. They will be pointing fingers at you. They will point finger. You are doing like this. When you point finger at somebody, it comes under aggressive behavior. Gives very knowing smile and set face when he is or she is angry. Keeps the arms crossed. Stands and sits upright, head in the air, leaning forward. Raised eyes in disbelief. Paces impatiently, breathes impatiently. All these gestures are showing aggressive behavior. My dear students, you should never have passive behavior. You should always never show aggressive behavior. Assertive behavior, take control of your own life. What happens in respectful behavior? Respect is there. Opinion, feelings of their own and other people is there, and they will respect this. When they are at fault, they will say sorry, but they will also allow others to take responsibility for their own actions as well. So they won't keep quiet. But if they are wrong, they say, I'm sorry. They respect their own rights and also the rights of others. They feel comfortable asking for things they need or they want and deal with conflict in healthy way. That is what as a student you should always remember. Always you should have healthy way to deal with any issues, with any problems. Okay, even if you want to compete with your classmate, there should be a healthy competition. So assertive behavior is very important and you should follow it. What will happen here? There will be firm eye contact, but not staring. Expresses anger and pleasure in face when appropriate and sincere reaction. If you are angry, you will show. If you are not, you will not show. Stands and sits upright. Hand movements will be fine. The features are steady. They are not going to change quickly and frequently. All these things comes under assertive behavior. So my dear students, please understand that the communication is not only through words, it is also through your body language. And communication is very important, right? You need to communicate with your friends, you need to communicate with the teachers, you need to communicate with so many people. Once you complete your graduation, you will end up working. In your working environment, you are going to interact with so many people. So building good communication skills is very important as a students. So I wish all of you all the best. Have a good future. Have a good time. Thank you.